we would like to have the Alaska Native Cultural Heritage Association get ready to perform. They are the Alaska Natives who met to learn of our culture and share with the community. It says they perform legends, sing songs, and dance traditional. The children are being taught to lead the singing and performances. Sometimes they are involved in audiences in the program, and usually they enjoy that part, and it's led by Anna Hala, group leader. Guk, it koha, guk.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are ANCHA. Pronounced in English, it's Alaska Native Cultural Heritage Association. We are from the Seattle area. We are comprised of Tlinkits and Haidas and Tsimshians, and we've got one white man in our group. I'd like to tell you, he's raising two children. They're Tlingit, they're Kakwantan, they're twins. He's raising them as Tlinkits. And so he's been adopted into the Raven clan, being that his mother would have to automatically be a Kakwantan. That's the reason he's in the group. He's a good man. He's a fisherman, and he fishes the waters off the coast here with you. You heard us coming in on our song. What we're going to do is we're going to do a quick story here. We're going to go on a canoe. We're going to go to a potlatch. And in this potlatch, the young girl's going to spot the land, and she's going to holler on a hey, there's the land. And once we hit the land, we're going to go into our going into the Longhouse song. And then once we're through with the Longhouse song, if we have time, we're going to do an honoring song of our guests here. And then once that's done, the young kids are going to come out front with the lead of Robert Fredrickson, who's been working real hard with the group in their choreography. He's going to lead the young ones up with a feather song. And when they're done with the feather song, we will then exit. children would just love to introduce themselves and which family they belong to. And right now is their chance to tell the world who they are and where they're from. Come on, children. You're going to go last? Okay. Over here's the mic. Oh, go ahead. This way.
Hello, my name is Amber Michael, and my Tlingit name is Scott-Toot. I was born in Seattle, Washington. My mom, Andrea Bono Michael, is from Juneau, Alaska. My grandma, Amy Nelson, is full-blooded Tlingit and is from Sitka, Alaska. I am a Kiksati frog and under the raven. That means that all my children will be Kiksatis. Goodish cheese. That means thank you in Tlingit. Hello, my name's Dolores. I'm Eagle Chung. My grand's name's Dolores Douglas from Heidelberg. My name is Leon and I'm Chung. And I'm an eagle and my grandma's name is Dolores.
Hello, my name is Zoe Eunice, and my great aunt is named Dorothy Wallace, and I'm Eagle Wolf Kakwantong.
If you see another one that looks just like her, you're not seeing double. They're twins.
Hi, my name's Terry. I'm an eagle. Chung, Haida Chung. My grandmother's name.
My grandma's Amy Shaw, and I'm Haida Raven.
Hello, my name is Shirley Eunice, and my great aunt is my Aunt Dorothy, and I'm Eagle Wolf Kakwantong.
I'm Richard Kimball, and my grandma is Phyllis Kimball, and we're Raven Bear, and we're Haida.
My name's Dee Dee, and I'm from the Kiksati Frog Clan. My Indian name is Scotch Tea, and I got it from my grandmother, Sally Hopkins.
Hello, my name is Yvonne Winston, and my grandma's name is Kasut, and Eagle Wolf Kakwantong.
I'd like to introduce the president of our organization. Oh, we've got one more bashful one. Her grandmother's going to introduce her.
This is my granddaughter, Alicia Hatfield. She's Eagle Wolf Kakwantong, and I'm her grandmother, Stella Montague Kalsut from Mangoon.
These are our children, and I've been working with them very hard over the last few weeks, and I can tell you that I love every single one of them as if they were my own. I'd like to introduce the president of our organization, Anna Halla.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am so happy to be here. I am Tlingit. My grandfather was Gus Adams. I am Kakwantong, and I'm very honored to be here. Gunas Chish, ho ho.
And just quickly, my name is Robert Fredrickson. My associate on the lead drum is Jack Strong. We're both professional storytellers, and we're just happy to be here. I mentioned earlier that I'm a professional storyteller, and that's true. This dance that we're going to do is going to star the children, and they worked really hard on it, so you have to like it. Now, I'm only going to tell the story quickly. It's a part of a story, and a lot of you Simsian may have heard this. It's called The Feather from Heaven. And what it is a bunch of unruly kids being naughty and loud and being brats. And they're so, anybody know kids like that? They're so loud that they always wake up the Lord of Heaven when he's trying to take his nap. So he sends messengers down saying, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. And of course, they pretend like they listen, but they really don't. You'll hear me say in my language, which means these darn kids never listen. And then you'll hear me say, Watsimu, which means no ears. And then finally you'll see the feather from heaven that comes down and entices the kids because it's so unusual. And one by one they get taken away. And of course there's always that one kid who listens. He climbs up all his brothers and sisters and cuts them free. So we present the feather from heaven. Akatiyamoksum gabatskul kugwa. Akatiyamoksum gabatskul kugwa.
They tied these down so people like us can't wander around with them. There's a story also that means a lot to the people in our culture. This story is about the little white worm. The little white worm. It doesn't belong to our clan, the Kakwantons, but I know this story. And it has meaning that means to everyone. There is a clan that it belongs to. They built their whole life on this, the meaning of this story of the little white worm. It was a time when we lived in a house as big as this, 100 people in the same house. Can you imagine that, 100 people under one roof? Nowadays they call them condominiums. It took an awful lot of wood to heat this house. And everybody had the duty of going and get the wood. From the time they're old enough to go, it's their duty to go and gather this wood. And it was the first time for this young girl, a first time ever that she was going to go. And when she was out in the woods, she found a tiny little white worm. A prettiest little white worm you ever could see. And she took it home. She didn't tell anyone for a whole week. For a whole week, she didn't say a thing because she knew that animals that are out in the woods belong out in the woods. And finally, she felt guilty about this little white worm, and she went to her mom and her dad, and her mom and her dad said, "Look, I've got a little tiny little white worm. Oh, isn't it just the prettiest little thing?" "Of course it is, my daughter. But you know that belongs out in the woods. Now you take it out in the woods where it belongs. You've got to promise me you'll take it out there and leave it there." And she promised. Long before there was a stack of Bibles, she promised that she would take this worm back out into the woods. But she got outside, and she became so fond to this little tiny white worm that she couldn't take it outside and leave it out in the woods. So she snuck it back into her house, and she hid it away. And she would feed this little white worm every day from her own plate. From her own plate, all she would have to do was take a little bit. But years went by, and she got bigger, and the worm got bigger. It was so big that she couldn't hide it in the house anymore. So she went to her mom and her dad and said, "Mom and Dad, can I have a place of my own? Because you see, I weave these things here, and I make baskets, and I make moccasins. And this house is just so crowded, I can't do it here. I have to have a place of my own." And Mom and Dad said, "Of course you can have a place of your own." And they built a place for her. And when no one was looking, she went and took this little white worm, and she snuck it over to her house. And she hid it away. And she continued feeding it a little bit each day. But a little bit each day wasn't enough anymore. She had to take a little bit of everybody else's food. So she went to the stash where everybody stashed their food. And she took a little bit of everybody's food. Who would know if we just took a little bit of everybody's food? No one would know, now would they? And that's what she did. And years went by. And the worm got so big that she couldn't hide it in her house anymore unless she dug a hole in the ground. And she did. She dug a hole in the ground, and she buried it just so the nose would stick out of the ground and it would breathe. And it would say, "Feed me, feed me." And that didn't come from the little house of horrors. They took it from us. It continued to grow. And she took just a little bit more food from everybody's stash. It was going into late winter. And they realized they were out of food already. How can this happen? We stored more food than we ever stored in our whole life. And we're out of food. We had a good season. And they watched. And they watched as this little girl went and took food from everybody's stash. And they watched as she took it into her house. And they watched as she threw the food from a distance because she couldn't get too close herself. And it would breathe. And the whole earth would move around. The whole earth in the house would be moving. And they thought to themselves, "What will we do?" I know what we'll do. They held a council. What we'll do is we'll send her off to another village tomorrow in a large canoe with all the things that she made, the moccasins and the leglets and the hats. And she can trade it there, and while she's gone, we'll rid ourselves of this hideous thing in the ground. And the next morning, this was to happen. They told her about this, and all night long she was crying. She was crying because this is the first time she's going to be away from her best friend ever. And she told it stories all night long and sang it songs. And the next morning, it was a beautiful day, sun shining. Water was glass calm. You can see the mountains reflecting on the water. And off they went in the canoe. And just as soon as they were around the corner, all the men from the village came to the center and surrounded all the men from the village. All of the men, you too, Larry. All of the men came and they surrounded this thing in the ground. Yes, you're a man. And on the count of 3, I don't think it was uno, dos, tres, or 1, 2, 3. But 1, 2, 3, yeah! The earth started moving. mountain started coming down, the snow started coming down. The water was... She heard this hideous scream. She knew what happened. They did something to her friend. She tried to throw herself in the water, and the men pulled her back into the canoe, and they took her to the shore. And there was all the people from the village standing there on the shore. Luckily, no one was hurt, but the whole village was destroyed. And Mom and Dad was standing there, and they were looking at the child when she was getting off the canoe. You see what happens when you tell even the tiniest little white lie. You've got to feed it, and it keeps growing and growing until it gets so big that when it's destroyed, it destroys the world around you. So boys and girls and ladies and gentlemen, let's live with the truth. Don't even tell the tiniest little white lie. Thank you. This young girl here wants us to do a day for you before we exit out. I'm going to let her lead it up. Come on. Susan, too? Okay, you. Okay, we'll be right here.
thank you for your attention. Thank you for inviting us here. It's been our pleasure to serve you in this way.
Gunlis Chishoho. We're going to exit with the famous Huna exit song. We're going to sing Yela and then lead out with that Yela and then go into the Huna exit song, the all famous Huna exit song. Yeah.